Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening to many people online today. We had 600 people registered for this first digital dialogue, and we're delighted to see people trickling in to the meeting today and in different time zones. My name is Sabine Rakoto-Malala. I work for the World Health Organization, and we're organizing this digital dialogue series with our colleagues from UNICEF. And today, the first digital dialogue series is with our colleagues from Safe Online. Just to give a tiny bit of background, the context for the digital dialogue series is the Global Ministerial Conference. As many of you probably know, in November last year, 2024, we hosted the first ever Global Ministerial Conference to End Violence Against Children. It was a historic moment. We had over 1,500 people, children, young people, survivors, UN agencies, donors, and very importantly, governments from across the world. We had over 120 member states attending, and 112 member states made pledges, which generating over 370 pledges. And now we're working very hard with colleagues, including yourselves, around the world to translate these commitments into real change for the 1 billion children that are today affected by physical violence, sexual violence, emotional violence, and online violence. As some of you may know, since the ministerial conference, we also have a new website. So you will see that we've put the everything linked to the November 2024 ministerial conference in one corner so that we have the institutional memory. But now the website shows the pledges. You can sort through the pledges. You can see the pledges. There's the call to action. There's events, a calendar of events, news, and different reports that are continuously being updated on the new website. So this digital dialogue series, which we're organizing with UNICEF, is running weekly. This is the first one, and every Wednesday until mid-September, we'll be organizing these digital dialogue discussions. And really the aim is threefold. Firstly, we really wanted to offer a platform for governments and civil society and experts and young people to share their implementation strategies and promote best practices across the pledges. So really a moment to connect. Secondly, to show the appreciation, recognition of the different communities of practice. In this case, Safe Online and UNICEF. We know that We Protect also are doing amazing work in the online safety space. So it's really a token of appreciation and recognition for the incredible work that they're doing. And lastly, to maintain the momentum for the next ministerial conference. We're hoping it will take place end of 2026. And so we really want to keep these different communities of practice that fall under the umbrella of ending violence against children alive and connected to each other in preparation for the next ministerial conference. So we have a great program today, starting with Serena, who's taking over from Maria today to present a little bit from the Safe Online perspective. Then we have a young person, Marie, who will be presenting. She's from the youth-led movement on ending violence against children. Then we have government representatives from Brazil, Kenya, the Philippines, and Kazakhstan. And thank you in your different time zones for making yourselves available for that. And then we have then we have a moment of learning, really, but especially about the policy and legislative trends, which is an area that's moving very quickly. And we'll hear from Marie from the Five Rights Foundation and Afrouz from UNICEF. And then we'll have a quick survey of the event, and then we will move forward and discuss next steps. So with that, I will hand over to Serena.
Thank you very much, Sabine, and good morning, everyone. It's a privilege to be here today and to contribute to this vital conversation. It's now been over a month since world leaders, advocates, youth, and survivors gathered in Bogotá, which marked an historical step in recognizing the magnitude and complexity of digital harms affecting children globally. That gathering amplified the urgency of our collective mission to ensure the digital world becomes a safe space for children. The insights and commitments shared in Bogotá laid a strong foundation, but foundations are not as strong as the structures we build on them, and turning the dialogue into decisive action has never been more urgent. As digital technologies continue to shape every aspect of children's lives, yes, most of these spaces are designed for adults, not children. As a result, we are seeing an alarming rise in digital harms, such as technology-facilitated sexual exploitation and abuse, cyberbullying, mental health challenges, privacy violations, and more. They're fast-moving, they are increasingly complex, and they're affecting millions of children globally. Generative AI, immersive platforms, and social media offer immense opportunities to young generations, but without safeguards, they expose children to profound harms that impact their mental health, hinder their development, disrupt their learning, and carry long-term social economic consequences. I serve as Senior Technical Lead at Safe Online, the only global fund dedicated to tackling technology-facilitated sexual abuse and exploitation of children and other type of forms of harms online. Since 2017, we have invested over $100 million across evidence generation, technology innovation, and systemic change in more than 100 countries across the world. These investments, the knowledge and connections they generate, are paving the way to scale what works to ensure that children's digital experiences are safe, inclusive, and empowering. But this is not enough. The pace of technological advancement far outstrips our current capacity to protect children, especially when it comes to financial investments. We are not starting from scratch, of course, and we are very thankful to our donors that have allowed Safe Online to grow and expand and learn by the investments. But despite all these efforts, there are many pressing challenges ahead of us. And this is why today is a vital dialogue and the future ahead of us is so important. The challenges ahead of us are many, but just to summarize a few, technology outpaces regulation. For example, research has shown that perpetrators can initiate high-risk grooming interactions in gaming environments in under 45 minutes, and in some cases, escalating in under 19 seconds for an abuser to groom a child. Policies must be informed by the latest evidence, by the voice of children that experience these harms, and by the survivors. They need to be proactive, future-proof, and prevention-driven. And today, as Sabine mentioned, we will hear more about the latest developments in this field from our colleagues at UNICEF and Five Rights Foundation. Also, as I mentioned already, funding for digital safety has always been poor, but now is shrinking even more. Just as we begin to make progress, shifts in donor priorities threaten to stall critical work in progress. Governments must therefore commit to sustained and stable investments in cross-sector frontline services, public health preventative approaches. Third, and not least, platforms should prioritize safety over engagement. As we know, algorithms are designed to maximize clicks or likes, not to protect children. The more proactive or polarizing the content is, the greater the profit is generated. Technology companies must strengthen trust and safety. They need to invest in safety by design and embed child protection expertise across product development, engineering, and leadership. Only in the moment that we embed safety within the design of the digital platforms and spaces children are experiencing, we are going to be able to prevent and stop this global crisis. So we already know today what works. We need evidence-informed strategies with robust regulations. We need survivor and child-centered design. Most importantly, we need sustainable financing, both at national and global levels. This is why Safe Online, along with key partners, is launching a new coalition focused on financing for children's digital safety. This is a strategic platform that will bring together donors, philanthropists, financial institutions, and private sector with government to close the funding gap. Together, we will explore innovative financing from trust-based philanthropy, impact investing, and catalyzing public spending to scale effective initiatives and embed child digital well-being into broader development and digital transformation agendas. We're organizing a roundtable as part of this at the G20 in South Africa in November. And if you would like to hear more information about this new initiative, which we will share a link in the chat, but also please reach out. And we will be happy to speak to you and see how you can join or support. To conclude, we stand at a defining critical moment. The decisions we are making now will shape the digital world our children will experience today and in the future. Inaction will put at risk their health, education, and future. But together we can reimagine and reshape the digital world, not as a space of danger, but one of safety, inclusion, and possibility for children in every part of the world. Thank you very much again for being here today. Please do not hesitate to connect with us at Safe Online. We would like to hear from you and to partner with us. I hope you will enjoy the rest of today's dialogue, and I'm therefore honored to introduce Rhiannon and Marie, that they were also with us in Bogota as champions for child online safety.
Good afternoon, good morning, good evening to everyone. Hello, my name is Marie Makuba, and I'm here representing the Global Youth-Led Movement on Ending Violence Against Children. Oops, my camera was off. Global Youth-Led Movement on Ending Violence Against Children as a youth mobilizer. So a quick intro about who we are. We're about 10 youth mobilizers from Brazil, Peru, Kenya, Zimbabwe, India, Uganda, Philippines, and the United States here, Cote d'Ivoire, and Malawi. We're currently under the fiscal sponsorship of Restless Development with the huge support of WHO and UNICEF, and we've officially launched at the Ministerial Conference in Bogotá last November with our first ever Global Youth-Led Manifesto. Now, our movement is pretty straightforward. We believe that every child has the inherent right to grow up in a world free from violence, whether that's corporal punishment, violence perpetrated behind screens, violence written into code, or privacy violations. This isn't just about policy for us, but it's immediate action. Not something to be addressed gradually, but also, at different phases. And I mean, as we're sitting here talking, there are children and young people being obliterated at the mercy of weapons manufacturers, big tech companies. The crossroads of technology and violence have never been so urgent for us to intervene on. And that is what drives us here today. So what have we been up to since Bogota? Well, we've been busy. So past February, we partnered with leading child protection agencies to host an interactive webinar on enhancing child and youth safety in AI. And here's the thing, it wasn't just another webinar where adults talk with young people, but we intentionally brought together people, online safety professionals, adult allies, and real intergenerational dialogue to shape AI's future. And that's what meaningful engagement actually looks like for us young people. Or at least the Global Youth-Led Movement, because we're not just the representatives of all young people here. So let me share some methods and tools that we've been using that you all might find useful. First, and this is one of the most crucial, involving marginalized perspectives. We cannot beat that drum enough, right? From the very beginning of that data collection phase, not just as an afterthought, not for validation, but from day one. And we've learned that the most effective digital safety interventions actually come from understanding lived experiences of those most affected, especially young people from different backgrounds, socioeconomic contexts, and digital literacy levels. As I sit here in the US, I also understand that there are young people who are left out of the digital space, young people who are living in more rural areas, who all play a role and whose voices need to be heard. Second, nothing about us without us. I know that we've heard this before, but let me be real with you. Too often conversations about technology's future exclude people who will actually live with these decisions. We can't be the future without being included in present conversations. And I'm talking about taking youth representation. I'm talking about genuine partnerships in policymaking. Thirdly, let's create spaces for intergenerational dialogue. That is really the secret sauce here that we've discovered, that, for example, the AR webinar we helped coordinate, worked because we didn't just invite young people or collaborate with young people to speak, but we created a format and co-created a format where different generations could actually learn from one another. Adult allies brought expertise, young people brought lived experience, and everyone left with actionable insights. Some action points for you to consider. One, how are you ensuring young voices are centered in implementation strategies, not just consulted, but actually centered? Here's what we notice: when there are young people who are being meaningfully involved in designing digital safety solutions, those solutions actually work better. Secondly, are you collecting and funding data collection in ways that capture diverse youth experiences? Are we talking about young people across different regions, different access levels, different identities? One-size-fits-all approaches do not work, and we've seen this repeated several times, even in Bogota. And thirdly, and here's a big one, are you creating feedback loops with young people? Because digital spaces evolve so quickly And what worked 6 months ago might not even work today. We need to have these ongoing dialogues, not just one-off conversations and funding streams. So what we're working on now, I'm going to make it very quickly. We're holding leaders accountable to those commitments that we remember them making as they walked across that stage in Bogotá. Through our manifesto, we're tracking progress, calling out gaps, and pushing for a real implementation of those 370 plus pledges that we heard. And we've also developing tools for other young people, with young people, for young people to advocate in their own countries and their own context through national chapters. And because we're only 10 youth mobilizers from 10 countries, these national chapters will be essential to follow through on those accountability streams. Now, before I wrap up, the momentum from Bogotá can't just be about government's promises. It has to be about what happens next. What happens next requires all of us, tech experts, policymakers, society, and especially young people and survivors working together. We're not just here to be included in a conversation, but we're saying that we have insights, tools, and the energy that can make these interventions more effective, and we're ready to partner with you. But it has to be a real partnership. So if you want to connect with us, follow up, or any of these approaches, please explore what our movement is about and feel free to connect us in the chat. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Maria. As always, very inspiring. And I would like to call Rhiannon now, please.
Hi, thank you very much. Hi, everybody. I'm Rhiannon Faye MacDonald. I'm the Head of Advocacy at the Mary Collins Foundation and a survivor leader and SAGE member with the Brave movement. I'm also a survivor of technology-assisted child sexual abuse. When I was brief details, when I was 13, I was groomed online by somebody pretending to be a young woman. She gave me compliments, she made me feel seen, and slowly manipulated me into sending intimate photos. Those images were then used to blackmail me. And the next morning, a man came to my home and continued the abuse in person. He brought a camera, he took photos, and those images were used to silence me. That all happened in less than 24 hours. But the impact, that lasted a lifetime. That still impacts me today. It's been 21, almost 22 years, and it still impacts me. I still live with the fear of those images being out there, that someone somewhere might see them. They may have already seen them. I will never truly have control over them. And this is the reality for so many survivors of online child sexual abuse. When I attended the ministerial conference in Bogotá last year, I felt something that I hadn't felt in a long time: hope. Over 100 countries made more than 370 pledges to end violence against children. It was such a powerful moment, but pledges alone don't protect children. Action does. And that's why I'm here today, because we can't afford to let those pledges gather dust. We need governments to act, and we need them to act now. The UK, which is where I'm based, the UK made strong and welcome commitments in Bogotá, pledging to tackle online harms, support survivor-led approaches, and show global leadership on child safety. These are important steps, and we've seen encouraging collaboration with some departments already. But across the board, in many countries, progress has been slower than it needs to be. And children can't wait. We need urgent investment in the child protection systems. We need legislation that holds tech companies accountable, not just asks nicely. We need to stop pretending that self-regulation works. It doesn't. And children are paying the price. As part of the Brave movement, we have taken some of these issues forward, and we've issued a call to action ahead of the G20. And we're asking governments to invest in keeping children safe, both online and offline. We're asking them to enact globally aligned laws that require tech companies to detect and remove child sexual abuse material to prevent re-traumatization and re-victimization. And we're asking for national survivor councils to jump on the back of what Maria's already said, so that those of us with lived experience aren't just heard, but we're leading these conversations. We are in these rooms at the table having these conversations. And finally, we're calling for the abolition of statute of limitations globally, because healing doesn't follow a legal timeline, and we cannot ask victims, survivors, children to follow that timeline. It's an arbitrary number, and it should not be allowed. It is incredibly harmful to victims and survivors to have to stick to arbitrary timelines. This isn't just about policy, it's about people. It's about children like I was, trusting, hopeful, and completely unaware of the danger that could lurk behind a screen. We often tell children to be careful online, but we don't tell tech companies to stop creating platforms that are unsafe by design. We wouldn't build a playground full of broken glass and then blame the child for getting hurt. So why do we allow this online? It's time to shift the responsibility from children to adults, to the companies and the governments who have the power to make these changes. No child should ever have to experience what I went through, and no survivor should have to live with the fear, the shame, and the silence that so often follows. We have the tools, we have the knowledge, we have the pledges. Now we need the action. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Rhiannon. You know, as I mentioned earlier, it's always great to hear from you and Marie and the people that you represent, you know, the people that had these experiences, and as children or as young people. And having you two as champions is really what we need. And we look forward to working more with youth groups and survivors groups to bring your voices to these platforms, to engage with governments, but also with technology companies. And this is something that we will look forward to do in the next year and beyond. Thanks for all that are coming in. I see people are still joining. We have over 200 people. It's great to have such a great turnover at this time of the year where most people prefer to be on holiday, to be honest. And this is a testimony of how important this issue is and the interest that is generating. We keep on hearing from countries there is interest from government to tackle this issue. And this is great. You know, that's what we would love to hear. And that's why we are here. We are here to facilitate the dialogue between experts, children, survivors, governments, and technology companies as well, and anyone else that is interested in tackling this. And as Rhiannon was saying, it's not the children's responsibility to stay safe. It's the adults' responsibility to make sure that they are, wherever they are, in the digital space, in the rest of their experiences every day. So with no further ado, we're going to start the roundtable with country deep dives, and we are honored to have government representatives from Brazil, Kazakhstan, Kenya, and the Philippines. But before starting the dialogue with governments and hearing all the work that I've been doing following up on Bogotá's commitments, Afruz from UNICEF will share with us some of the key highlights from the Bogotá pledges that focus on child online safety. Afruz, please.
Thank you, Serena, and please allow me to echo my great thanks to Rhiannon and Marie, and to all our colleagues and partners for this important dialogue. It's a real pleasure to be here today. So as Sabine mentioned at the outset, and as many of you may know, Bogotá was an unprecedented gathering, and the issue of protecting children from violence in digital spaces was a thread that went throughout. So I'm just going to spend a couple of minutes before we hear from the countries, just outlining some of those main themes that came out with respect to online protection. As you may know, there was a call to action that was, resolved at the end of the Bogotá conference. There were 6 main calls to action, and one of them was specifically around integrating risks associated with digital technologies. Moreover, when we look at the pledges that were made by governments, by those countries in attendance, there were over 30 countries that expressly called out commitments with relation to protecting children from violence in digital environments. And I think I'd just really like to echo, the commendation and the acknowledgement of those important pledges, and particularly because they were very strategic in that they were strengthening, existing violence prevention and response efforts and systems rather than creating kind of parallel or siloed interventions. And this is strategic because we know that violence against children increasingly includes this digital dimension. So it's really important that our systems and our services are equipped to deal with this. So on the next slide, just quickly, when you look at the pledges, and as Sabine mentioned, there is a website now where you can search through and see all of them. It's clear that digital risks are being addressed across a wide range of areas, and a few strong patterns emerged. So firstly, a lot of the pledges with respect to digital and online safety focus on policy, legislation, and governance mechanisms. These are important. These are the architecture. These, empower duty bearers to take action. They enable children to claim their rights. So countries like Botswana, the Gambia, Nepal, Namibia, Timor-Leste, and the United Arab Emirates, these are just some of the pledges, committed to various legal and policy reforms with respect to digital safety, and others committed to improving multi-sectoral coordination, monitoring, and planning. The other key theme to note was that there was strong alignment with the high impact solutions that were really promoted and partners coalesced around in Bogotá. So these 3 high impact solutions are parenting and caregiver support. So really looking at how to support parents in helping children to navigate digital environments safely. So for example, Cabo Verde, Colombia, Zimbabwe, and Bhutan made commitments with respect to parenting and caregiving in the digital age. The other high impact solution was around safe and enabling school environments with countries like Estonia, Kenya, Kyrgyzstan, embedding digital literacy, online safety, and teacher training into national education systems. And then the third high impact solution was around response and support services. So many countries are strengthening child protection case management, helplines, and I see there are a lot of helplines on today's webinar, social work capacity, multidisciplinary services to include online harms. So just to close out, I would say that this approach, which is integrating digital risks into existing platforms like schools or parenting programs, is really important to avoid fragmentation, to enable scale, to enable sustainability. And it builds on systems that governments and communities already rely on to keep safe, right? But that said, and as speakers before me have mentioned, while this integration is really important, it's also very important that we ensure children's rights and their safety are embedded in the governance of digital technologies. So this really means putting children at the center of how digital tools are developed, how they're regulated, and how they're used. And this is where there weren't so many pledges around this area. So I just wanted to note that in terms of when we look at that, those themes. But that said, as the digital environment evolves, we know that those core protective systems around the child stay the same, right? So families, educators, frontline service providers, all of these people play a central role in preventing and responding to online harms, and they must be supported to do so. Back to you, Serena.
Thank you very much, Afruz. It's great to hear about the focus of the global pledges in Bogota. And as Sabine was saying, we look forward to continue working with governments as we work towards the next global conference that most probably will happen in November next year. So without any further ado, I'm honored to introduce the first government representative, Dr. Hardman from Brazil. He's the Director of Child and Adolescent Protection at the Ministry of Human Rights and Citizenship. Welcome, Director Hardman.
Thank you, Serena. Thank you, UNICEF. Thank you, everybody. I'm Fabio Meirelles, Director of Child and Adolescent Protection from the Brazilian government. Our federal government remains firmly committed to promoting safe and enable environment for children and adolescents, particularly within the digital environment. Following the pledges reaffirmed during the first Global Ministerial Conference to end violence against children, held in Bogotá, the country has implemented a series of coordinated and cross-sectorial actions, reinforcing its leadership in this field. At the conference, the Ministry of Human Rights and Citizens, Mrs. Macaé Evaristo, presented Brazil 8 official commitments to ending violence against children. Subsequently, our national secretary, Mrs. Pilar Lacerda, represented Brazil in the regional meeting of pathfinding countries on ending violence against children, organized by the United Nations and held in Mexico City in the last week. During this event, she reaffirms Brazil's existing pledges and introduced committed, focused on expanding our national network of social assistance service for families, children, adolescents, with a special emphasis on prevention and specialized cares in case of violence and rights violations within the family setting. In this field of school-based intervention, two legislative measures were recently enacted. The law number 148111 criminalized buildings bullying and cyberbullying in Brazil, and the law 15100 introduced restrictions on the use of mobile phones in schools. These legal instruments are complemented by practical guidance developed by our Ministry of Education. In parallel, Brazil has also established the National System for Monitoring and Combating Violence in Schools. This is created by the Decree 12006. This system, this system plays a key role. It's okay? The sound?
Yes, it's okay, please.
Okay, it's another person. Okay. This system plays a key role in producing research and mapping trends related to violence in education settings, promoting peaceful buildings programs, providing support and technical assistance to schools with high rates of violence, and offering psychological supports to victims within the school's community. These systems will be implemented in coordination with states, municipalities, and the federal districts, ensuring a cooperative and decentralized approach to addressing schools violence nationwide. In addition, the Ministry of Human Rights and Citizens and other 6 ministries launched this guide on the use of digital services for children and adolescents, which serves as education tools to raise public awareness and stimulate national engagement on the responsible use of technology by children and adolescents. A structured step was the recent creation, it was yesterday, of an interministerial committee that is currently tasked with develop the national policy for protection of rights and children and adolescents in the digital environment, which will provide this comprehensive framework for ensuring children's digital rights. On the main lessons learned through this effort is the essential role of interministerial coordination, as well as an active engagement of civil society and the private sector, including digital platforms. In this regard, Brazil has established a series of institutional mechanisms to promote dialogue, technical cooperation, and policy development. Among them, in the working group of deepfakes, we have a working group of deepfakes coordinated by the Secretary of Social Communication of the Presidency. Additional, under the scope of growing peace plans, 2 advisory committees were created and are coordinated by the Ministry of Justice and Public Security. The Advisory Committee on Reporting Channel for crimes against children and adolescents on the internet, and advisor committee on age verification in digital environment. The plan also leads the establishment of the Director of Combating Cyber Crimes, a specialized unit dedicated exclusively to taking online children's sexual abuse and exploitation. In conclusion, Brazil views these efforts as a fundamental to building a safe, including and right-based digital environment for all children and adolescents in our country. This initiative reaffirms our belief that children's protection in the digital age must be grounded in robust legal frameworks, intersectoral collaboration, and the active involvement of the entire society. Thank you, Serena.
Thank you very much, and congratulations to Brazil for all the efforts. It's one of the reasons why we wanted to bring countries together. As you can see, we made an effort to bring countries from different regions, is to learn from each other, to facilitate that type of dialogue and see how governments are addressing this. So it's great to have Brazil and to see, to hear more about all the work that is happening there, and we look forward to continue working with the country to share the knowledge, learn from it, and continue the investments. Let's hear then from the Republic of Kazakhstan. We have with us the Commissioner for Child Rights. Can you hear me? Are you with us?
Yes.
Yes. Hi, welcome. Welcome. It's great to have you here.
Thank you so much.
Welcome. And, we know that Kazakhstan has been making also great progress and against the pledges from Bogotá. And today we would like to hear a little bit more from you about the lessons learned, the priorities that were chosen, and also what you think is left to be done. What are the other key areas that remain to be addressed?
Thank you so much. First of all, on behalf of Kazakhstan, I'd like to warmly thank Safe Online, UNICEF, and WHO for bringing us together to this important dialogue. And we deeply value the opportunity to reflect, share, and learn alongside others as we continue working to turn the Bogotá pledges into meaningful change for children. As we mentioned in our national pledge in Bogotá, at the Bogotá Ministerial Conference, under the initiative of our president, huge progress was made to prevent violence, any form of violence against children, including domestic violence. And under the new law, all forms of violence, the punishment for all forms of violence was increased, and there is a harsher punishment for any bodily harm. And under this law, we are working on creating the infrastructure to support families. For example, family support centers in every district of Kazakhstan. Nowadays, already 112 centers were open. These centers provide legal, psychological, and social help. Moreover, mobile groups was organized in all regions, multi-sectoral mobile groups, which identifies family in difficult situations, children who face violence, and refer them to family support centers. Secondly, psychological support centers were opened in all regions of Kazakhstan, overall 20 centers. These centers implement a unified program to identify violence, suicidal risks, and bullying, and provide all types of help to children who faces these risks. Moreover, in order to strengthen the system of protection of children, any form of violence, any form of violation of children's rights, nowadays we are opening departments for children's rights in all the regions of Kazakhstan at the level of local authorities. Moreover, very important amendments which were mentioned in the pledge that we are going to accept these amendments. It's already happened, and this amendment gives us opportunity to increase the number of children's rights protection body staff. So almost all pledges that were mentioned in Bogotá conference already done. And now we are working on implementation and turning this legal framework into real actions. Moreover, state hotline 111 for families, women, and children was open in Kazakhstan, and it works in two directions. First, through calls, and secondly, from online messages that any child from school can send to 111. And for example, in one day, we received more than 500, almost 1,000 messages from children every day. So it's a direct connection to every child in Kazakhstan. Overall, within 6 months of this year, more than 80,000 messages came from children to 111 hotline, and more than 80,000 of calls from citizens of Kazakhstan also came to 111 hotline, and the help was organized. Now we are working and we're focusing our attention on safety online together with UNICEF. And months ago, together with Meta company, we launched a campaign on online safety with UNICEF, with the support of UNICEF, and Meta presented their youth accounts. So we're working in this field as well. Thank you.
Thank you very much for for sharing the experience from Kazakhstan. It's interesting to see how many children are using the service, because many times you have seen in other countries that children are very hesitant to contact help, for a number of good reasons, to be honest. Sometimes very often adults are not ready to receive the reports, but the fact that children are reaching out for help, it's actually very reassuring and extremely positive insights from Kazakhstan. Thank you very much for being with us, and I will be back with you and Brazil representative. But now we're moving to Africa. We have a representative. We have the principal secretary from the State Department for Children's Services at the Ministry of Gender, Culture, and Children's Services in Kenya. With us, I can see her. Yes, Kenya has been a strong leader in advancing desire work in the region, and we would love to hear from you about progress, lessons learned, and what are you planning to do also to move forward. Thank you.
Thank you, and good afternoon, Serena, and all the organizers for this dialogue, and welcome to all the participants. My name is Karen Agengo, as you have heard. I was newly appointed sometimes back in about 2 months ago, and I'm actually in office exactly 3 months, and what I would like to say that it is really a privilege to participate in this dialogue, and this is because Kenya is highly committed to child protection, especially in meeting the pledges that we have made in Bogotá. And one of the things that I would like to say is that Kenya is a highly digital country in terms of access to internet, both children and adults, and over 80% of our children access internet because we do have digital learning, and this is also an area that exposes our children to risk because of this. And so digital safety is one of the key areas that we are focusing on to ensure our children are protected. And it has become a subject that we are saying is really urgent, because we have noted that if we do not take action, and then our children will be at great risk. And that is the reason why we also made this pledge at Bogotá. So our youth are very connected, and the children, they are very participative when it comes to online activities. And so there are opportunities, but also there lies some risks. that we need to deal with as a country, and especially to protect the children from cyberbullying, online sexual exploitation, and there's a lot of harm on the online. And so what we have done, we have demonstrated a strong leadership in advancing child protection, particularly when it comes to technology facilitated harms. And what we have done is, as a country, we are committed to ensuring that the digital space is safe for our children. And if I may just highlight a few of the actions that we have taken as a country to ensure the digital space is secure for our children. One of the things that we're doing is digital safety education. And the progress that we have made, we do have initiatives such as safe communities, resilient online learners program. We also have online safety champions. And we have also come up with a campaign where we say, you spot it and stop it. Where you spot any harm or any violence on children through online protection, we should be able to stop it immediately. So these campaigns are also helping us to disrupt, any online harm that happens to our children. Then what I can say is that one of the things, again, we have done is to come up with a guideline on digital safety for our children in schools, and we are calling it a Safe Online Guide. The Safe Online Guide was launched in the month of April, and this is supposed to guide our children. What do you do when you access online? If you, they can identify where the risk is, should they get access to any danger online. So this is a guide, and we are currently working on disseminating the use of this book to all schools within our country. We've just reached a small percentage of learners in the city. We started with Nairobi, where we launched the book, and we're expecting that we will expand the coverage or access to this online safe guide to all our learners in Kenya. We also use the children assemblies and train them on online child sexual abuse. And so far, we have trained 550 children through the assemblies to enhance their knowledge on digital safety. We also have 455 children advisory committees within the country. So these are also committees that are helping us to pass information to the young people, especially on children, and this helps to disseminate the information. Then we are also working closely with the journalists and the media, and we have 53 editors and 30 journalists under the Kenya Editors Guild and Kenya Correspondents Association. So we have trained these journalists and the media team on child-friendly reporting and identifying and responding to any online child sexual exploitation abuse that happens, so that the media can be our ambassadors, because we know the media, the reach of the media is quite huge. And when we use the
Karen, it looks like you've broken up.
Yeah.
Broken now.
I think we have a little problem with the connection. Let's wait for...
We are not hearing. Maybe connection problem, please.
Yes, that's a shame, but we can hear back from Karen when she's back. Karen, are you back? No. Let's maybe give her a few minutes to reestablish her connection. But great to hear about Kenya progress. You know, she was just talking right now about, you know, having the media engagement to be able to reach out to more people, but also, you know, peer-to-peer. You're back.
So my apologies. I was disconnected by the
No worries.
internet. So in addition, I was saying that we have also launched the mental health and psychosocial support chatbot through our reporting system. We have a child helpline where the children can either report through 116, or the children can do a chat. And this is also helping us to reach out to mainly adolescents and younger children with mental issues. And this is also a very good way of dealing with, you know, we are responding to the children when they have issues. They can be open to us and reach us. And when it comes to maybe I will go to the legislative and policy framework. The progress that we have made as a country is we have come up with a national plan of action to tackle OXEA, that is the online child sexual exploitation and abuse, 2022 to 2026. So this is a plan of action which involves a multi-agency approach, and it continues to drive legal and policy reform, where we are focusing on online grooming and live stream abuse, so that we strengthen our collaboration among the multi-agency within the Ministry of ICT, Ministry of Interior, and also the Children's Services Department, so that we coordinate this national plan of action as a team. And this is to drive preventive, especially when it comes to prevention. We want to ensure online child abuse is actually prevented rather than being responsive when it's already happened. And what I can say are the lessons learned, aligning our legal framework with the reality on the ground is helping us to be adaptive and to sustain our commitment to achieve the pledges that we have made at the Bogotá. And another thing that I wanted to say is we are also reviewing the Sexual Offense Act 2006 to include emerging issues, especially on the technology facilitated crimes against children, because you note that by the time we were enacting the Sexual Offense Act, much of digital presence in the country was quite low. And so with the increasing digital presence, we are reviewing this act to see that it aligns with the emerging issues that are coming up on children. If I may go therefore then to the lessons that we have learned and also on opportunities, what I can say is that there is need for sustained investment to support protection of online.
It's broken.
So I'm saying that there's need for continued financial and human resource investment on child protection programs, particularly those that are focusing on the digital safety. And I know funding is really a challenge. As funding is draining, we are looking at alternative sources of funding that can support the sustained, for these programs. Another thing that we have learned is that we need data-driven interventions. And so we are strengthening data collection and analysis as we are receiving reports on child abuse. We are building on data that is going to help us make informed evidence-based policies and also interventions that will stop that will ensure our children are safe. And another thing that we are doing is we are ensuring children's voices and experiences are heard, because with this, then we'll be able to design and implement child protection initiatives which are child-centered. And last, I would like to say that we are prioritizing preventive measures rather than reactive measures through comprehensive education and awareness campaigns to reduce children being vulnerable from online abuse. So thank you very much. And that is what I can highlight as what Kenya is.
Thank you very much, Karen. It was very interesting, and I think the connection has been cut again. Sorry for that, but we cannot host an event like this online without some technical issues, so that's totally fine. I think, as Karen rightly mentioned, financing is a challenge, and it's not just for Kenya. And I know that, for example, the government of Kenya has done an exercise to cost the National Action Plan for Online Child Sexual Exploitation, which is obviously a tool to be able to fundraise for more. And also, as you rightly mentioned, there is the need for collaboration with other sectors, for example, the education sector, or also the ministries and departments that are working on digital connectivity and transformation. But without any further ado, I would like to introduce our last but not least government representative that will be telling us about the work that's been happening in the Philippines. Similarly to Kenya, the Philippines has been showing a strong leadership in this area of work in the region. And we have with us today the Executive Director of the National Coordination Center Against Online Child Sexual Exploitation and Abuse at the Department of Justice. Mrs. Flores, welcome.
Thank you. Thank you. Good evening, everyone. Good morning, good afternoon. Again, I'm May Flores from the Philippines. I'd like to thank, of course, Safe Online, WHO, and UNICEF for giving us this opportunity not only to share the lessons we learned, the accomplishments we have, but also to learn from other countries, from our colleagues from other parts of the world. So let me share you some of the what the Philippines have done so far. I think the Philippines is very fortunate that we have a very comprehensive and robust law against online sexual abuse or exploitation of children and against child sexual abuse and exploitation or exploitation materials. Because our law not only prohibits or punishes possession, grooming, accessing of CSAMs, it also punishes live streaming, distribution, publication, etc. But in addition to that, I think what this law very unique also is that we also provides responsibilities and obligations for financial intermediaries and internet intermediaries to make sure that they have safe designs in their platforms, and that they will not allow their platforms to be used in the commission of the offense. And these obligations, the non-compliance of which carries not only administrative liability, but may also carry criminal liability. But as what Rhiannon said earlier, pledges and laws, really, they're not that impactful if not translated into actions. So with that, the Philippine government is now on the final stage of its multi-year strategic action plan. It's a 4-year action plan, and it cuts across 4 key result areas. So we have the prevention and advocacy area, the protection. Then we also have prosecution, law enforcement, and compliance, and of course, partnership and networking. And in the process of drafting this multi-year strategic action plan, also aligned with the pledges that we made during the ministerial conference. For example, when we drafted the multi-year strategic action plan, we went around the different regions of the country to make sure that we get insights from different backgrounds, from different cultures. So it's not going to be what we call the capital-centric insights and ideas to draft the national strategic action plan. In addition to that, we also, for each consultations that we have on different regions, we also set aside time to consult with children. So we also gathered insights from children on what could be effective activities to be included in the National Strategic Action Plan of the Philippines. We also engage with victim survivors because we also find it necessary, of course, to include in policy making in the strategic action plan insights from victim survivors. So from this strategic action plan, what we have also enumerated several activities that will align with the commitments we made in Bogotá. So some of these activities that we listed there is the creation of multidisciplinary teams and quick response teams in different hotspot areas, because there was a study conducted by an NGO where it identified hotspot areas. So we intend to create quick response teams and multidisciplinary teams on those hotspot areas. We are also in the process of finalizing our operations manual for one-stop shop centers. This is to prevent the re-traumatization, or at least lessen the re-traumatization of victim survivors. So the one-stop shop center, the aim really is that when a child is rescued or when a child is brought, is being processed, then the one-stop shop center should, all the stakeholders that needs to be there to gather statements or to or take medical examinations on the child should be done in one place only. And we also included their trainings for all frontliners to be trauma-informed and child-sensitive in the provision of services to victim survivors of OSAIC and CISAN. We will also create victim identification units. We are actually already started. There's already one victim identification unit in one of the law enforcement agencies. So what is this victim identification unit? There are several child sexual abuse materials going around, and in some of those materials, the victims are not really identified. So we need trained law enforcers to identify these victims, and it really needs a very specific skill to do that. We are also conducting research on age verification protocols so that internet intermediaries will ensure that, if they have adult contents or contents that are not appropriate for children, they have to make sure that children cannot access these platforms. And I think one of the good provision also of our law is the creation of our office. It's the National Coordination Center against OSAIC and CISAN. So this coordination center ensures that the efforts of government agencies are coordinated to avoid duplication of activities. So the National Coordination Center is actually composed of several government agencies and also CSOs, civil society organizations. So earlier I mentioned that we identified 4 key result areas in our National Strategic Action Plan. So in each key result area, we already identified the lead government agencies who has to make sure that the activities listed on those key result areas are complied with within the period of the strategic action plan. And in addition to that, we also identify their partner civil society organizations who shall work closely with the lead government agencies in the implementation of the strategic action plan. I also want to highlight the very strong partnership and networking of the Philippine government with CSOs and also with foreign entities, foreign law enforcement agencies. We have here in the Philippines, the Philippine Internet Crime Against Children Center. We consider it as a gold standard in international collaboration of law enforcement agencies. So this center is composed of law enforcement agencies from the Philippines and also from other countries like the Netherlands Police, the Australian Federal Police, and the UK National Crime Agency. So they meet regularly and discuss cases, share best practices, do joint operations. So we consider it a very effective collaboration, especially if the cases involved is transnational in nature. Like the perpetrator is located in different parts of the world and the victim is here in the Philippines. So there's a lot of activities in store for us. There's a lot still to be done by our country, but it's very helpful that we have the law, because then it is our roadmap on how to deal with the crime. And it also helps that we can enforce it. And I think the fact that internet intermediaries and financial intermediaries are given obligations by the law is also very important.
Thank you very much, Mrs. Flores. It's very insightful and interesting to hear about the Philippines progress. And I see the chat is being very active. People are asking questions. So please go ahead, continue to ask questions to the government representatives or other speakers. We can use the chat actively. Unfortunately, we don't have time to answer questions online, but I think we have a few extra minutes to do a final round with the government representatives. And maybe we go backward. We start from the Philippines, we go to Kenya, Kazakhstan, and Brazil to conclude. And my question is, so much progress has been made, but of course there is so much more to be done. And especially on the financing side, as we said, we need to secure sustainable investments across the globe to equalize also differences, in different countries, the capabilities and resources available. So what do you see as an opportunity to accelerate such progress? So if you could make a wish and have this opportunity today or tomorrow to make the progress faster, what will that be, Mrs. Flores? And you only have 1 minute or less. Sorry.
Okay. Well, to make things faster, we really need sustainable funding. I mean, I don't want to simplify it that way, but we really do need sufficient funding to fight this battle. Especially since we're dealing with a digital world, and so we need the tools, the right tools, the right skills, the right expertise to be able to combat this properly and appropriately, and that of course translates into cost, right? So significant cost. So I think that's one. But I think that the fact that we have a good relationship with international partners and also with CSOs is an opportunity that we can also tap.
Thank you very much, Mrs. Florence. And then I move to Karen. Karen, would you like to share a quick thought about what you think is needed? What is the opportunity or the wish to make progress faster? We need to accelerate nationally, but also globally.
Thank you very much. For me, what I would like us to do in Kenya is we have an opportunity for public-private collaboration in terms of dealing with issues of underfunding. We have an active ICT sector that we can ride on and explore possible partnerships with the tech companies so that they can help us to co-finance preventive tools, campaign awareness, and also innovation to help us deal with online child abuse. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Karen. And moving to Kazakhstan, Dinara, I'm saying it correctly, I hope. What do you feel is the wish or the opportunity to accelerate progress in your view and experience?
Nowadays, the main concern, as we can say, is online safety of children, because as Kazakhstan and all the world moves forward with its digital transformation, including efforts to expand connectivity and e-government services, protecting children online is becoming increasingly urgent and complex. And children connect to internet at very early age. While internet is an opportunity, there are also risks. We all understand that. Of course, we have legislation in order to protect children in the online world. We have cyber monitoring system, which gives opportunity to identify harmful information and to connect the platforms in order to take measures and steps. We also opened cyber departments in Kazakhstan within the police in order to investigate the cyber crimes. And with the support of UNICEF, there is a huge educational campaign within these departments in order to increase the effectivity of investigations. Secondly, we also started safety lessons in all schools, as we believe that education is a key in order to provide safety, especially online. There are 130 topics that gives opportunity for children to learn how to provide safety in all spheres of life. We are moving forward in order to find new ways of providing children safety in online world. And one more, I can say that there is a huge work is going on now within the initiative of President on the program Children of Kazakhstan. This program unifies all measures of safety, health, education, social support in children's rights protection system in Kazakhstan, and new steps that should be taken in order to provide more effective ways. Thank you.
Thank you very much. And the last from Brazil, and we're a little bit so no more than 1 minute, please.
Okay, Serena, I think it's essential to uphold our Brazilian constitutional principles of absolutely priority and integral protection. I think moving forward, sustainable progress depends on intersectoral collaboration. We must expand and institutionalize dialogue among government bodies, civil society, the private sector, and children and adolescents themselves. Only with the meaningful participation of stakeholders, all stakeholders, can we ensure right-based and inclusive digital governance. I think finally the next challenge is to expand and sustain these investments through the current administration, ensuring the children and adolescents are constantly treated as a national priority, and the best interest of children is firmly established as a guidelines legal and interpretive principles across all levels and policy and implementation. Thank you.
Thank you very much. And thank you very much to all the government representatives for being here today with us. We look forward to continue working with you. This is not neither the beginning nor the end. You know, it's a continued effort and a continued dialogue that we hope will translate into concrete change for children. And we are moving so to the last section of this dialogue. We have two colleagues from Fire Rights Foundation and Marie-Eve, and also Afruz from UNICEF, that will tell us the latest from around policies and legislations. We mentioned during the conversation today how important these are, so we will learn from them. And please continue using the chat to ask questions to our speakers. Over to Marie-Eve.
Thank you so much, Serena. I have some slides. Great. they're on the screen. So it was really great to hear so many countries advancing the Bogotá pledges and the protection of children online, which is a critical component for realizing children's rights in the digital environment. And if you take one key message from my intervention today, let it be that if we wait until a child is harmed, we have already failed. We have to stop treating harm as inevitable. A digital world that is safe by design and not risky by default is possible, but it will only happen if we choose to make it so. And that's exactly what we at Five Rights, we've spent the past decade fighting for, to ensure that children are not an afterthought in the digital world, but recognized and protected by design and default. And we've been working across continents, so it's a great privilege to be here today and share some of the insights to hopefully support your journey from commitment to actions. So I'll start by briefly covering 3 key points and then share some of the promising development that we've been seeing at international, regional, and national level. Next slide, please. My first point is on the scope of harm and where they're happening. It's often tempting to react only to the most extreme and devastating manifestations of an unsafe digital environment. But it's important to look beyond the headlines. Creating a truly safe online environment for children means addressing the full spectrum of risk children face online and preventing them. And the 5C framework has been recognized internationally for over a decade. And these risks are not limited to one platforms or services, and children encounter them every day on social media, in their favorite games, in the AI tools they use, and even in the edtech product they use in the classrooms. Next slide, please. And our research, including disrupted childhood, shows that the major drivers of these harm is the commercial logic that is underpinning digital services too often designed to serve and prioritize profit and commercial goals. So children are caught in a war for attention and trapped in a system that keeps them hooked. With endless scrolls, random rewards, constant notification, they are pushed into chasing likes, shares, and rankings. And these feed children's insecurities. They prey on their emotional vulnerabilities, their fear of missing out, the constant pressure to be online. And all of this comes at a steep cost: their sleep, their learning, their play, their mental health, their body image, and I could go on. But now AI systems are turbocharging these risks at speed and scale. And this is not an accident. It is the direct result of the priorities and the choices that were made by those who designed and profit from those services. And also by a lack of meaningful constraint on the tech sector that has been left for too long to self-regulate itself. As it was raised by Rhiannon, it has been failing. But because these all are human choices, it can be changed. We can make better choices that put children's safety and well-being first. And that's why my second point is that safety must be built in by design, proactively, and not as an afterthought. And the good news is that we have been this strong foundation for systemic protection emerging around the world. Which brings me to my third point in the next slide, that the foundation for such an approach is firmly established in the UN Convention on the Rights of the Child, ratified by all 193 UN member states besides the US, and its General Comment 25, which provides a clear North Star for how children's rights must be upheld in the digital world. And this is our roadmap to design a digital environment that serves children's best interests rather than exploit them. And in the next slide, you can see that this vision is further reinforced by a growing ecosystem of global and regional guidance. Here it's only a little sample. Most recently, we've seen the Global Digital Compact, last year adopted at the UN, where governments committed to strengthen their legal and policy frameworks to protect the right of the child in the digital space by 2030. And the clock is ticking. At the regional level, we're also seeing progress is accelerated. In the European Union, the Digital Services Act is grounded in children's rights, requires platforms to assess and mitigate the risks to children, and setting a high bar for their safety, for their privacy, and for their security by design and default. And next slide, please. On the African continent, the African Union Child Online Safety and Empowerment Policy was adopted last year. Next slide, so we can see maybe fully the policy areas. So the African Union policy set out coordinated child right-based approach for the continent. But as it was already mentioned, those global and regional commitments only makes a difference when they are embedded in national laws, in policies, and in enforcement mechanisms that achieve real-world impact for children. And we've already seen what it looked like in practice. Next slide, please, with the UK Age-Appropriate Design Code that had set a global benchmark by making children best interest a design standard and not an afterthought. And we're seeing its principle now being replicated across the world in many countries, in the EU, in the US, across many states, to Indonesia, with guidelines in the Philippines, in Mexico, and with also Australia and Canada also moving in that direction. Next slide, please. And where the laws are passed, we are seeing that they are driving real change into how companies design their products and leading to significant improvement for children's safety and privacy. And here you can see the wave of changes following recent regulatory efforts. And a final slide, please. After Colombia, I think we've heard the global momentum is undeniable. And every country that is represented here today is uniquely placed to turn those commitments and best practices into real-world protection that prevent harm by design and not after the fact. Because we can no longer accept a digital world where children and well-being are at best an afterthought. So let's do it.
Thank you very much, Marie-Eve. Thank you. Afruz, over to you.
Thank you so much. We can jump to the next slide. I will try and save us a few minutes because we've had such a rich discussion today. I'm going to build on Marie-Eve's presentation and really zoom in to the protection of children from technology-facilitated sexual abuse and exploitation. So, of course, this requires regulating technology companies. And we've got that great update from Marie-Eve and Five Rights, but alone it's not enough. We also need to update and future-proof criminal laws, procedural laws, victim and witness protection, and other operational capabilities that underpin enforcement. So I'm going to speak quickly to three main points. The first one is the international legal foundations that inform national frameworks. The second are some recent global developments. And the third, some of those key legislative standards. So on this slide, you will see those key international treaties that really provide the legal foundations. On the next slide, you will see some developing very recent international standards. So you may be aware that in December last year, the UN General Assembly adopted a new international cybercrime convention. There are specific provisions on child sexual abuse material, on online grooming, and non-consensual sharing of intimate images. So this sets a new standard for criminalization of these cyber-enabled offences. The treaty opens for signature this year, so it will be great to see governments signing on to this treaty. Also, just last month, the European Parliament has voted to adopt the recast of the 2011 directive on combating child sexual abuse. This proposal expands definitions of AI-generated child sexual abuse materials, grooming offender manuals. So there are still trialogue negotiations, which are expected to conclude later this year or early next. And there's also work underway in the AU in developing a model law on child online safety, which is an important step towards regional harmonization. So on the next slide, I want to note and acknowledge, and as we've heard today, there is really important progress in this area, but there's still a lot of work to do. And an important point to emphasize is that online child sexual abuse and exploitation is not just a technology issue. right? It's part of a broader global challenge of child sexual abuse and exploitation. So we need strong, comprehensive legal frameworks that cover all forms of child abuse. So every child is protected, no matter the medium in which the abuse occurs. On the next slide, I'm just highlighting some of those key standards and capabilities that need to be in national laws. Those offences around child sexual abuse materials, live streaming, sexual extortion, grooming. Rhiannon already spoke to the importance of removing statute of limitations in the law. The third point is just about those procedural laws and capabilities for law enforcement that need to be legislated for. So, new protocols for the investigation, storage, and preservation of electronic evidence, and so on. On the next slide, just noting some of those urgent and complex challenges. We are all reading, we are all seeing, this proliferation of AI-generated child sexual abuse materials. In some countries, maybe in many countries, it's not yet illegal if there's no real child involved, but we know that the harm is very real. So just wanted to note this point. This content promotes the sexualization of children. It fuels demand. Obviously, it causes harm to children whose likeness may have been used. So we need definitions to be updated so that all such material is clearly criminalized. There's also the challenge of self-generated sexual content, ensuring that children are treated as victims and they're not held criminally liable for producing images of themselves. Next slide, just wanted to reinforce, the importance of technology regulation, the UN guiding principles on business and human rights, that obligation, that duty of businesses to respect children's rights. Laws need to require child rights due diligence and in particular impact assessment. I'm just going to ask my colleague to put in the chat now a new tool that UNICEF has recently published for child rights impact assessments in relation to the digital environment. And I think Marie-Eve spoke a lot already to those obligations of companies. And then noting that protection requires a full ecosystem. We need legal frameworks to ensure child-friendly justice processes, training for professionals, coordinated victim support services, and importantly, redress mechanisms and financial compensation. And of course, laws are not enough. Implementation needs to be supported. It depends on operational tools, education, and as has already been mentioned as a thread through this webinar, sustainable resourcing. So let me close out by noting that much of what I've covered and more is included in our global guide on legislating for the digital age. You can access that through the QR code. I'll also put it in the chat. We are updating that this year to take account of new those international standards I mentioned, the challenges of generative AI, and insights from current work UNICEF's doing on tech regulation. So I'll stop there and back to Serena.
Yes.
Or Sabine.
Yes, we're very grateful to your contribution, Afruz, but also to all the speakers. It was really great to have you today, and I will pass it over to Sabine that is going to close this dialogue, and just to say that this is not ending, this is just a step on the way as we move forward together to making progress faster for all the children globally. Sabine.
Thank you, Serena. I don't know about you guys, but my head is whizzing. I mean, we had at some point 250 people online. I have 3 children myself. The digital space is what freaks me out the most, to be very honest. And we know that online violence happens at the same time as offline violence, so they're equally important and we have to address them. I think somebody mentioned in the chat, it's like putting a child in a playground where there's broken glass, and that's really what it feels like. I just want to, first of all, thank the different speakers. I mean, from Serena, the wonderful opening, Marie and Rhiannon, thank you very much for your testimonies. And I love it, the never about us without us, and that those that are with lived experience should be leading this work. So we will always, and we commit to this, putting you front first as speakers every time to make sure that you're driving this work. Afrouz, thank you so much, always bringing in the child rights perspective and the legal component. And Mary-Eve, thank you for the five rights work. It's just so impressive since so many years already. And then, of course, the governments, Brazil, Kazakhstan, Kenya, and Philippines, for all the work you're doing. I want you just to leave with one thing. We really need to...
Ethiopian, can I speak?
We
Can I
really
go?
need to
Ethiopia.
drive. Ooh, somebody's speaking up. We really need to drive this dialogue into action. We need to continue being bold. The financial investments, we've heard it. We heard you loud and clear from the Philippines. But to do that, we need to stay connected. So please keep on telling us what you're doing so that we can keep moving this discussion forward. Others, we're going to be in the same place in 12 months from now, and we really don't want to be in the same place in 12 months from now. November 2026, we want to be in a different place. We want to be able to share all the progress we've made. So I really encourage you to continue at government level, children, young people, NGOs, and huge thank you to the Safe Online team for driving this forward. And with that is the closing on time, and I wish you all a good evening, day, morning, and see you soon. And oh, last point, please join the digital dialogues every Wednesday going forward. Thank you. Bye-bye.